Roger Christofferson here again with another first listen review. If you're looking at the title of this, you may like wondering what in the world is this guy talking about Prince for. If you've seen any of the other reviews I've done, this might seem a little out of place, but not necessarily so, because there's a lot of guys that are into rock musicians that are big fans of Prince, and this is his box set of Diamonds and Pearls, just here released this past week, and this is right around the time I was actually getting into Prince. I'd obviously heard, Little Red Corvette was the first thing that I think most people had heard on the radio, and I remember when I was really young, I heard that, and I thought it was a pretty cool song, but then saw who it was performing. I was like, oh, this guy's out there. He's like, this is nothing I've listened to, because I was a young metalhead, and, very narrow-minded at that point in time, kind of didn't pay much attention. Even when Purple Rain was coming out and it was huge, and Graffiti Bridge and Sign of the Times and all that, I didn't pay much attention to him at all. And it wasn't until around the Batman soundtrack, so somehow I picked that up, and I thought that was really cool. And, I'd heard the guitar riff for Most Beautiful Girl in the World, and I'm like, that is like a really perfect guitar riff. And it's, for me, it's all about the song. I don't care how great of a musician you are, whatever instrument it is. If you don't have a cool song or a good song, it really doesn't matter, because, you're not going to get too many people to pay attention to you. There's people out there with bad songs that are good players that people listen to, but if you combine the two, I think that's like, not a lot of people can do that. Let's put it that way, just my opinion. But so anyway, that's right around the time I started getting back into him again, and I started checking out the earlier stuff and realized, he's actually always had really good songs and music. In fact, the song Purple Rain was inspired by Bob Seger, of all people, because he couldn't figure out why Bob Seger was so popular. And I can't remember who it was, but somebody told him, because he has a big ballad that people sing along to. He's like, well, I want to write a song like that everybody sings along to. And that's kind of how Purple Rain came about. So he's got, inspiration comes from anywhere, I remember seeing Richie Sambora playing Purple Rain, and inspiring him to play, guitar and stuff. And like the one thing I would want to point out is he had done the guitar solo at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction like years and years ago. He played the guitar part on While My Guitar Gently Weeps, famously played by Eric Clapton. If you ever get a chance to check that out, that's pretty cool. I know it's a really popular video out there, and I've watched it a few times. But anyway, getting back to the box set here. Not everything of Prince's is my favorite stuff. He's just got really good stuff that I like that, when it's good, I really like it. And then there's other stuff that I could really care less about. That goes with a lot of artists, I guess. But this is one of those albums that I thought had a lot of good stuff on it. And it's one of my favorite ones. Although I just picked up that Lotus Flower thing a few years ago. Actually, just picked up, but that's a cool album too. That's really... there's a soul album of one of his other people on there that he works with, but the two CDs, it's a 3D CD set. The two that he does himself are really cool. And his version of Crimson and Clover is like really, really out there, but cool listen. But anyway, back to this one. I keep sidetracking myself. The album, it's remastered, so everything sounds a little bit crisper and fresher on it. Not that the production was ever bad on any of Prince's stuff. It's one thing I've always liked about his stuff. It's always been like crisp, clear. So it wasn't like a huge improvement on it, although I noticed that it is extremely crisp, extremely just like in your face. You don't hear any type of hiss, any type of mistakes or anything. It was very intricate. He was very tight with all his musicians that he worked with. This one's with the New Power Generation, because he always seems to change groups that he works with. He's had several different bands that he's created that he's worked with people. And so that's the first thing I noticed. That it definitely got a very crisp, bright remix or remaster, I shouldn't say. It's not a remix, remaster to it. And songs that I prefer on this one are Thunder. I thought was a cool little intro to it. It's upbeat, rocking, got a cool instrumentation going on to it. Diamonds and Pearls, I always liked that song. Never cared for Cream too much. That was another one of the singles off this, but I never really cared for that song. But I did like Get Off, just because I thought the groove was really cool. A little bit overly sexual for me, but I thought the groove was always really cool. And it's weird listening to him experimenting with the rap in here. And he didn't use like popular rap artists. He just used somebody local from his area, and he could have worked with anybody he wanted to. At any point in time, I'm sure any rapper out there would have been more than happy to work with him, but he just chose local people, and he always stuck with the band with whatever it was he had. And just, I thought that was pretty cool that he just was, for whatever period of time it was he worked with those people, that's the people he worked with. And that was pretty much my favorite ones off the album, and just overall it has a cool funk groove to it, a little bit more than maybe some of the other stuff did, where he was getting a little bit more pop and got into soul and some other different stuff, but this one had more of the funk element to it. In fact, after listening to some of these remixes on this the second single here, it seems like it was probably going in almost like a hip-hop direction. So like the single mixes and edits and stuff on here, didn't care for it too much because it seemed like it was more in the hip-hop direction, and it's just not my style of thing to listen to. There are 3 CDs on here called Vault 1, 2, and 3. Some of it's other versions of the songs ended up on this album, like there's a long version of Diamonds and Pearls, and you get Live for Love is on here, but then there's a whole lot of extra songs, and that's like the stuff that I was really into. Song, although it starts off with a song called Schoolyard, which is got a very descriptive element to it of female anatomy, and it seems like the lyrics and the age of the kids in this song seemed like maybe that's why this one was never released. Maybe I don't know if I had something I would have ever released, but just for that alone, the song is good. I just wish it had different lyrics. That's just my take on that one. But other cool ones are like Lorianne. This seems like almost like he was still trying to stick with the vein of Little Red Corvette. I kind of had a little flashback during that one. And then you got I don't know what else would you listen that I thought was cool. Oh, the Martika stuff on here. He had that 3 songs from that girl that he was working with there for a while, produced her album Martika, and his versions of the songs in here are pretty cool. And there's just I hadn't really ever paid much attention to her, but hearing him sing these songs, I can see the similarities, and the production style is almost exactly the same. And then the Vault 3 has actually got the majority of the extra just stuff I never heard before. The first 2 had a few songs here and there that were just never released songs, along with a mix of different versions of songs. And Vault 3's here got a couple that really stuck out to me. Alice Through the Looking Glass was like a really cool song, and then it ends with a song called Thunder Ballet, which I thought was really interesting. I never heard him do anything quite like that before either. And then the last 2 are a live concert of him performing live at the Glam Slam, which they do a lot of songs from this album on here, and then he throws in his version of Nothing Compares to You, and a couple extra ones, like Thieves in the Temple and Sexy MF. And then he ends, with a couple different medleys of stuff. And I don't know, I was only listening to this, so I don't know if he did any of this stuff, but I had seen a couple videos of him online where he like jumps from instrument to instrument, where he's playing guitar, and then I'll switch to bass, and then I'll maybe do a little drum thing, or keys or whatever. He just jumps around and doing that, and I don't feel as though he's like showing off like his talents, even though he is. But yeah, I think it's more as a performance. He was like a great performer. Shows are very high energy. You're not going to be bored if you ever went to a Prince concert, and so I think he did that more for the excitement of the visual, actually. So, but as I say always, this is just my opinion on things, and as always, I welcome everybody else's. Just as always, I try to keep it respectful. Sometimes people get a little overboard, and I don't know why. Some people just can't help themselves, I guess. But it's the internet. What are you gonna do? But I still like talking about this kind of music to keep the music alive, as I always say. So if you can like, share, subscribe, and all that fun stuff, just so we can keep talking about cool stuff. Maybe this one's a little bit left of center, but hey, whatever. It's I like Prince, and that's that. Talk to you on the next one. See ya.